Hello and welcome to the WB Mason Coaches Report with Hofstra baseball coach John Russo. Welcome back to the show, Coach.
Thank you for having me.
Coming off another great week, 4-0, sweep of Georgia State in the conference series, a win over Albany. Let's touch on that before turning our attention to the busy week ahead. Week started off with a pretty one-sided game against Albany, 12-4. Probably wasn't that close. Albany came back with 4 runs in the last two innings. What were your thoughts on your teams showing that game?
I thought the signs for it was going to be a good week got started in that game with our pitching coming out and really dominating. Like you said, the first 7 innings we had a tough inning from Kraus and Berg, I believe, to end it. And the offense came out, really set the tone. We stole a bunch of bags and really got going and did what you're supposed to midweek, get up early and then get good pitching and get a victory.
Okay, moving on. Georgia State team, which has always given Hofstra trouble. Losing six straight to them. Always down in Atlanta. The first time they've been here in quite some time. They come in, get a different type of series, grind it out, kind of games. Win Friday, big win, 4-3 in 11 innings. You rally in the 8th. You get a good start from Jared Rogers in his first start back. You rally, score. They score in the top of the 11th, and then Hofstra comes back and scores 2 in the bottom. How did that set the tone for the rest of the weekend?
I thought the biggest thing that came from that game was Rogers. Him going 5 innings in a spot that we needed somebody to step up, and I mean he was the right guy, and his performance on Friday was as good as performance as we've seen. Out of anybody, I think this year. He just was really dominating off his fastball, a lot of pitches in play. And, I know he gave up 2 runs, but it was a tough play in center field where Nyman went to make the catch, and it ended up being a triple, and it cost him 2. But listen, we're full speed ahead, and we won't question Nyman on going for that ball. But that was kind of the way Jared pitched. It was full speed ahead, attacking, and getting right after. We played really good defense, and then scoring a run to come back there in the 8th, and then getting down in the 11th and then scoring 2, it set the tone for a pretty big weekend. And, I was really proud of the guys to come back, and it was something we hadn't really done just yet, winning a close game like that, coming back in a close game. And, after that victory, I kind of felt like we knew all the ways to win now.
Moving on to Saturday's game, again, you get a strong start from your pitcher, John Tiedemann. Goes 8 2/3, runs into a little bit of trouble in the 9th. Have to go to the bullpen to get that last out, but you get a 6-2 win. Brett Schreiber comes in with the bases loaded and ends up picking up a save.
Right.
What did you think of that game?
That game was a really weird game. I think we had 17 hits and about 6 other walks, and we had a bunch of base runners. And I think in the first 2 games we left 27 runners on, 15 on Friday and 12 on Saturday. And with how well John was pitching that game, it just felt like a lot bigger lead than what it was, and then it got really tight there in the 9th. But I think the credit goes in this game to Tiedemann. We used a lot of our bullpen in Friday. We took 2 2/3 from Verbitsky, an inning and a third from Barberino, 2 innings from Cody, and we really needed him to log innings and have a great performance. And what a great time for him to pick out his best conference performance of the year. And, the thing that I thought showed a lot of character of him was, he pitched that game, 87, 89, hit 90 a few times, but on his 114th pitch in the 9th, he hit 90 miles an hour again, so he was really trying to gut up and, finish that game. And, credit Brett coming into a bases loaded, tough situation, top of the order up, and, he got a ground ball to get the out, tacked right with strikes. And, Brett's been pitching awesome for the last couple weeks, and we have a lot of confidence in a lot of guys right now in our bullpen.
And now, with that win, you already clinched the series. You turn to Sunday, turn to your freshman Dave Jesh. He goes out and gives you 6 strong innings. Again, you rally from behind, and this time, Matt Reistetter comes up with a big hit. A triple in the 8th inning there to give you guys the lead, and you come back and win 5-3. It had to be good for Matt. He's had a little trouble with the bat this year, and for him to come through in a big spot like that had to make you feel good.
It has. Matt's he has struggled hitting the ball, and he was a 3rd-team all-conference catcher, but It's been a year-long battle, switching Matty from being a hitter to really taking care of the pitching staff. And, over the course of the weekend, he calls every pitch that's thrown. So, as much as the pitchers deserve credit for this whole week, Matt deserves just as much. He caught every inning of all those games and caught every one. So, he's the epitome of I guess a big league catcher. Make sure you play defense and hit a little bit. And, his knock was, the biggest knock of probably the weekend. And, that was Dave Jesh, another great performance by him. 6 innings, 1 run. The defense failed him a little bit, and gave up a couple runs, but he bailed them out of, tougher situations. It could have been worse. And, on Sunday, I had that feeling that we were, a little bit content with just getting 2 victories on Friday and Saturday. And then, something clicked in about the 6th inning that they just knew that they were going to win that game. And, they gave had bases loaded in the 7th, and Danny popped up. And, right in the past, that would have been, that was our shot. And the guys put together another 8th inning, and just talks to what kind of character and what kind of effort these guys give on a daily basis.
Now, the series win, you get the sweep, and it really kind of was a different kind of win than we've been accustomed to seeing all season. The running game really didn't click this weekend. Their catcher did a pretty good job throwing out some runners. We didn't have the opportunities that we've had in the past. So, how does that make you feel? It kind of gives you a different perspective. You guys can win, showing you can win now, doing it
regular
your way, and
right.
You want to say the regular way.
That was true. I think they threw out 8 runners on the weekend and really shut us down. And I think it was a big factor of us leaving on so many guys this weekend. We weren't really able to get guys in the scoring position when we got hit. So we put together 2 hits, but never the 3rd hit to knock them in. And Georgia State came in with a good game plan, but I guess it's tough to stop us in a lot of directions. They tried to stop our running game, but then they gave up more hits. We had 40 hits, I think, again on the weekend. So we really swung the bats well, and but the thing I'm most proud of the weekend was it was a pitching-dominated weekend, and that's what we need to be here to win. It doesn't need to be about the offense. It needs to be about the pitching, and the pitching was unbelievable. I think the relievers only gave up 1 earned run on the whole weekend, and it was just an awesome weekend. I can't be more proud of the pitching staff and how they did, and they deserve all the credit for this weekend for sure.
All right, let's turn our attention to this week. You take your 17-12 record. First time the team's been this far over 500 since 2001 season. 5 games this week, 2 non-conference games, starting today with New York Tech at home, tomorrow against St. John's. Your thoughts on these 2 midweek non-conference games?
This is where the DeRico injury is going to hurt us. Is the 2 games during the week. If it's 1, we have Schild who can log a bunch of innings, and we can throw a couple of the relievers. It's finding these other 9 innings, and I think we're going to go with Schild tomorrow against St. John's, and then today we're going to start Joe Bird, but he's not going to go that long. Somewhere 30, 40 pitches to that nature. And we're going to need a couple guys that hadn't pitched all that much to really step up today, and that's just the basic bottom line. I don't know if we'll, throw Verbitsky here in the next 2 days because he logged 2 pretty big games this weekend. And at the end of the day, our bread and butter is in the conference, so it's bigger to be ready for Wilmington than it is so much with New York Tech and St. John's. So we're going to really need, the offense to produce a little bit during this 2 midweek games. That's what it should be when you're facing a little bit of midweek pitching. But I think a lot of our focus right now, not to look anything past New York Tech or St. John's, but it's get ready for Wilmington. Wilmington's number 1 in the conference. We're number 2, and it's a big weekend series. And I know the guys are really fired up to see how we match up.
I would have told you before the season started that on April 13th, you'd be going down to Wilmington to play in a battle of first place versus second place, where if you win the series, you can have a share of first place, or if you take the sweep, you can be in first place by yourself. What would you have said?
I don't know if there's anybody in the country that would have told you they believe that. So I don't know. I had a lot of confidence in these guys, and I thought we could do some special things this year. But I think we've exceeded our expectations and a lot of people's expectations. And we're not. I told them on Friday, we're not going to apologize for it. We're going to keep trying to play our best. And our goal at the end of the day is to make the conference tournament. And in that type of setting, I think any team can win. And I'm real happy with the way things gone so far, and we're going to keep trying to do our best.
Have you begun scouting Wilmington?
We have.
And what are strengths and weaknesses?
Well, the one thing is, and this is going to be hard to believe, but I think they're the top leading team in conference in hitting. Even though their overall batting average is 280, they're hitting close to 337 in conference. So, I mean, I think we hit at a pretty big clip, and they're beating us by about 13 points. So that's in conference, they're doing a lot of damage. They're not giving up many runs. Matt McSwain, two guys that have been conference guys for 2 years, are really not giving up hardly any runs, and then they're also running at a real high clip. They're right behind us in conference and stealing bases. So, I guess it's going to be a real, matchup of similar type teams. We're right together in RPI, all the stats, first and second, second, fourth in pitching, first and third, I think, in fielding, and they're just a really good club. Stolen bases, first and second. So it's going to be a battle of two teams that are very similar. They're at home, which they probably have the best home crowd of any team we go play in the conference, and we have to travel a long way on Thursday. We're going to bust down on Thursday, so it's going to be a really tough atmosphere. But the one thing I hope is we've had a lot of road games so far this year, and we're prepared for it. And I think with the energy of it being a first and second place, that'll provide the energy to get through the weekend. And I'm real excited to see how this turns out.
All right, well, it all starts today at 3 o'clock here at University Field when the Pride take on New York Tech. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Len, for having me.
Good luck this week, Coach.
Thank you.
You've been watching the WB Mason Coaches Report with John Russo. Thanks for viewing.